tuning in to another Baby Names Live. And this is going to be a fun one because we just dropped an episode about the top names of 2020. And there are some pretty surprising ones. I'm here with my sister, my older sister now.
You wish, older.
Okay, my baby sister, Mallory.
That's better.
And we are the founders of babynames.com, if you didn't know that by now. And we do run the website. I manage the database and the programming parts of it. So if there is a name that is not in our database and you want to put it in our database, you can just write us. And if you have ideas for the podcast, because there's just so much we can talk about names and we're kind of running out of ideas, then write podcast@babynames.com. We do have some ideas for our 4th season next year. We're going to be wrapping up our 3rd season with a great show. It's going to be the best and worst celebrity baby names of 2020. And boy, do we have some opinions. Ooh. But we're also going to have a special guest, and that's going to be our favorite celebrity baby blogger, Kate Fan. Yay! So stay tuned for that. That will be dropping in 2 weeks. But first, let's go back to these top baby names of 2020. Mal, why don't you read off the girl names? Top 10.
Okay. I am not seeing it.
Okay. I will
so
read
why
off
don't
the girl.
you do it?
Okay, so the top 10. We have Amelia and Emilia, A and E, at the number 1 spot. I do combine those names, even though they are pronounced a little differently. I do consider them the same name. They have the same meaning and everything. So Amelia and Emilia. Now, we found that 18% of our users who added that to their favorite name list used the E spelling. And Mal, you know where that comes from, right?
Yes, Emilia Clarke, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Sorry,
I really
I'm
like
trying
the
to find
alternate spelling. Okay.
I like the alternate spelling too. In fact, I like it more than I like A, even though one of my favorite little children is Amelia, but Emilia is my favorite spelling of that name.
Cool. And so I'm going to go down the list really quick before we take comments. Charlotte's number 2. Aurora is number 3. Violet's at 4. You're turning Violet.
You're turning Violet.
Olivia with an O or an A is at 5, and 5% of our users use the A spelling. Ava, Aria with an I and a Y. Luna.
What?
Isla,
what?
Hazel.
Wait, hold on a second.
That's it.
What?
That's for the top 10. And for the boys, we've got Oliver, Liam. So Oliver kicked Liam out of the number 1 spot. Theodore, Ethan. I almost said Elijah. Ethan, Aiden with an A-N and an E-N. Benjamin, Declan, Gabriel, Finn, and Elijah's at 10.
All right. So, look at
Lizzie says she says she has an Olivia and Aria. Interesting. I've never seen the E spelling before. I'll have to add that to the alternate spellings. Let me know, Lizzie, why you chose the E. Was it because EL names are popular or because it has some kind of family tie? That's really interesting. I like that. Thank you for tuning in. And Sarah says she's going to name her daughter is due March 25th, Illy Rose. And we talked about the name Illy, meaning it's an acronym for I love you, which I really kind of like that name. So that's cool. So in the top 10, we talked about Oliver. And when the Social Security list came out, Oliver was still number 2 for U.S. births. But I really think by 2020, it's going to hit the number one spot. If not, then 2021. I think Liam already is dropping a bit because it's so popular, and parents don't really want super popular names anymore. They're looking for more unique names.
Definitely.
Lizzie said that Olivia with an E sounded just a little different in the pronunciation. Olivia. Yeah, it does. But because the EL names are so huge, then it's not so offbeat. It seems pretty common.
Yeah.
Now, what were your surprises like on the top 100? Did you get the list up?
No.
Oh.
So let me get to that while you go on.
Yeah, you can go to babynames.com. Everyone can go to babynames.com, and the link is right there on the homepage.
That's right. Okay,
So
well, I'm going. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say Astrid at 40 is really interesting. We talked about Estelle and Stella being star names, and Astrid is another star name. I think it's a little clunkier, though, because it doesn't have the A ending. It has that D ending. But I also think it's kind of pretty. So Astrid is an interesting name.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of the name Astrid. I think that it's kind of a harsh name. It's one of those names that has like a really harsh sound to it. Astrid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's beautiful. That's just my opinion. Sorry, all you Astrids out there.
And a similar name on the boys' side, and we've talked about this all season because it's becoming popular, is Atlas.
Mm-hmm.
I like Atlas. I like it as a gender neutral name for either boys or girls. And I just did an interview yesterday with the New York Times. The article should be coming out soon. It's about how 2020 has affected baby names. You don't think about it, but definitely the world emotion and zeitgeist has an effect on how we name our babies. And one thing that we've found that is just booming are god and goddess names, mythological gods and goddesses. And what I attribute that to is that parents really want to put strength and power into their child's name because we're feeling powerless now. We've got this virus. We don't know what we're doing. Should we wear a mask? Should we not? And by the way, you should. But, we are powerless over what's going on. And so that makes us want to put power and control and strength into our baby names. So I think definitely in 2020, that's why there's been a rise in these god and goddess names. They're really cool.
I think the name Ophelia is a similar kind of name in the sense that it's like a Greek, not goddess necessarily, but a Greek name, a strong female name, Ophelia.
Right. Yeah.
And that is rising, and it was number 26 this year. We also have Penelope, not a fan of Penelope. That is 35, but that's going down.
I don't like the nickname Penny.
I don't know,
maybe because people call me Jenny Penny, or it just seems, or maybe it's just because it's like the least, what's it called? The least thing in our monetary system. You know what I mean? Like it's, I don't know, demeaning almost. But
I see what you're saying.
I like Penelope and I like Calliope, a similar name that's been hopping onto the charts.
Calliope is cute. I like Callie. Callie is cute too.
I like Callie better than Penny.
I don't
again,
like
you don't have to give them nicknames.
Anything. Yeah, I don't like anything to do with Penelope or Penny. Just not a fan.
Yeah.
And I like Anastasia, but that is going down a little bit, or actually had a major jump over 10, I believe. And that's at 59 this year. Now I like Gideon. That's another biblical name on the boys' side that's rising.
Right. And, biblical names that are are rising this year. And again, in hard times, people do turn to faith. So that could be a reason why the biblical names are becoming a little more popular and had started to rise in 2020, is because people are turning back to their faith and they want to instill that in their children as well.
Yes, absolutely. That is quite possible and actually quite likely. You know, people are, what's so funny?
I'm laughing at Sarah's comment. It's a biblical name. She said her name is Sarah and she's an only child. Like, seriously, that's all my parents could think of. Sarah is one of those evergreen names. And we talked about that it's always in style. It never really goes out of style. And that's pretty much true for a lot of biblical names, because the Bible's always in, right? It's like the #1 best-selling book. So you can't go wrong with like Elizabeth and Ethan and Sarah. I think there's some that do drop out of style. Maybe Ruth isn't so popular right now, as a matter of fact, but who knows? If Mabel has jumped onto the charts, which I never thought would happen, maybe Ruth will make a comeback. Who knows? I do like Eloise. That reminds me of the children's book Eloise. And of course, it has that EL name element again.
I agree.
Name element.
I love the name Eloise. I think the name Eloise is great. And that book was so fun. Who wouldn't want to be stuck in the what is it, the plaza?
Yeah, I went to the plaza 2019 because we had a conference in New York and Miranda had a meeting there because she's such a big shot. So I just hung out in the plaza and they have this huge like portrait of Eloise right in the lobby and it's so cute. I think it's amazing.
That's very cute. And I would also like to point out that Sarah in our group here says she likes the name Margaret.
That's our mother's name. Yeah, and that's an evergreen name too. Mm-hmm. Margaret, Maggie, Meg. There's so many. Peggy, our mom went by Peggy. That's probably not as popular right now because it's very, 30s to 50s.
It's coming. Because if you listen to the Baby Names podcast this week, then you know that Peggy and Maggie are one of my favorite names, and it's just a great one.
Yep. Okay. Let's look. I like to look at the very bottom of the charts to see like what people are adding that are kind of up and rising, So on the boys' side, Wilder, interesting name. Achilles is an interesting God name because Achilles had a weakness, obviously, and that's why they call it the Achilles heel, is because Achilles was known for his weakness. But interesting name to choose. Fergus, I think is so cute. Fergus, you don't like Fergus? That's an outlander name.
I don't like it. Oh, it's awful.
Idris at 445. We love Idris. So
we love Idris.
Aurelius. I think that sounds really hoity-toity to me. Hello, my name is Aurelius.
My name is Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, right.
Might as well have one of these. I had a toy ready.
Oh, the grapes.
My name is Marcus Aurelius.
So this is on the boys' side. Zephyr. What do you think of Zephyr? We've talked about Zephyr before, I think in our nature names episode.
I kind of like the name Zephyr or Zeph. It's different. I like Z and X names like that are Zane. Different because people use always.
Do you like Xander with an X or a Z better?
I don't like Xander at all.
Really?
I like Zane. Okay, list all the Z names that you're talking about, the XZ names.
I just said Zane, And Xander.
Xander.
I like Zane.
I guess Z. Xander with a Z is better than Xander with an X. But you know me.
Xavier with a K.
Xavier with a K.
Yeah, that's on the charts.
No, with an N.
Okay. All right. Let's see what's at the bottom of the female charts. We have Alma. I like that, which means soul. Siobhan. What I really think is interesting is the Saoirse is like in the top 20. I believe it's in the top 20, which is really hard for Americans to spell. Saiourse. Saoirse is the spelling. Let me see. Saiorse, something like that. Okay. But anyway, that is trending. And I just thought that would be too difficult for Americans. And like our users are about 80% from the US. So when I say Americans, I'm assuming that a majority of our users who are adding these names to their favorite name lists are American or in any kind of English speaking country. Let's see.
I like Kimberly's.
Audrey says she likes Amethyst as a girl's name. I like that too. I think that's really pretty. Whose real name was Amethyst that they named their son Onyx? Somebody famous. I forgot.
Let's look it up by next week.
We will. I like that. I love Gabriel Ronan and Gage Rowan. Yes, Ronan and Rowan have become huge names for boys. Rowan being a gender neutral name. It's on both of the charts. And I like them too. Is it Rowan Atkinson, who's Mr. Bean? And then Rowan Farrow?
I don't know Rowan Farrow.
Yeah, Farrow's son, who's a journalist.
Oh.
Or is he Ronan Farrow? I'll have to look.
Shall I look it up? Not now.
You look it up.
Pardonnez-moi.
Well, I talk about it's Ronan, and I like that. And I think because of Ronan Farrow, and there's also a Marvel character named Ronan, which is another power name that has jumped onto the charts as well. Tori says, my best friend's name is, you spell
Michela?
it Myhella? Is it
Michela? Michela. I bet it's Michela. Tori, let us know.
Spell it Myhella. Helia. Myhelia. Okay.
I must not be low enough.
Interesting. I love all these new names. And I really, truly believe that parents are just getting a little more creative with their baby naming. You know, we've talked about this before. 50 years ago, you know, it was 30% of babies born were given a top 10 name. And now it's down to about 7%. So parents don't want to conform. They don't want, a top 10 name. Michelle. Okay. Tori.
I like my hell yeah better.
My hell yeah. I like that too. That's cool. So Kimberly has a Gabriel Ronan and Gage Rowan plus Griffin and Eliana. Those are beautiful names. Let's see about Prudence. Not sure about Prudence. Of course, that is a expectation name. But I don't know if people really know what to be prudent means or the actual meaning of the name. But
it just means to be careful.
It means to be careful. Yeah, definitely. But I think on girls, it meant to stay virginal, I would say. You know, the real connotation back in, the puritanical days.
That's chastity.
I know it's chastity, but it is also prudence. Blossom is down there near 500. Tallulah.
My name is Tallulah.
What was that from?
It was from Bugsy Malone.
Oh, right. Was that Scott Baio?
Yes, I think it was.
And it was Jodie Foster, wasn't it? Who played Tallulah? That's so funny. Back in our day. So what names that do you like that came out on the list this year? We want to hear your opinion. The other thing that we're going to do, we said we're going to have Kate Fan joining us in the top best and worst celebrity baby names of 2020. That's our final episode of season 3. So we want to hear your opinion on this because we want to feature our listeners and our watchers' views on this final episode, and we will read them out loud. But if you want to talk in your voice and have it broadcast on the Baby Names podcast, as long as it's clean, you can call our voice message line at 702-848-5510 and just record your opinion on any celebrity baby name of the year, whether you love it or you hate it, and we'll feature it on the show.
And please, people, if your name is Bob, don't worry about calling in. I won't believe
Bob
you.
might just call in. I heard from him, and he said he might call in. So Canise. Oh, that's a pretty name. Candice or Canise. I was going to name my baby Teal if he was a girl. I think Teal could work for either. I like those color names, though. Those are cool.
It reminds me of Tennille.
Like,
I mean, I know it's the color.
Captain and Tennille? Yeah.
Well, not all of us know Captain and Tennille.
Teal would work. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about Teal. That's a pretty name, Teal. And I guess it would go with a lot of surnames, especially surnames that are more complicated or difficult to pronounce, because Teal is a dictionary name. We have an episode about that too.
Hey, you know what?
Yes.
Kimberly's last name I like as a girl's first name.
But it's like Khaleesi.
I know, but it's spelled better.
It is spelled better. What if she named her girl Khaleesi? That would be interesting.
Oh,
Kimberly, like mint grit.
Please don't name your baby Khaleesi. But I like the name Khaleesi, and I think that people should use the name Khaleesi instead of Khaleesi.
Calissi looks like an Italian surname. It is really pretty. And if you have to name your kid Khaleesi or want to name your kid Khaleesi, use that spelling.
That's our
See
opinion.
what you got, Kimberly? Now we're going to have all these babies named after you. That's cool. But Teal Khaleesi sounds pretty cool too. What do you think? Here, I found something on the girl side. Number 228. Alaska.
You know, there was a baby Alaska. Oh, gosh. Probably about 10, 15 years ago. I think that name has run its course.
Really?
I think Brooklyn's name its course.
Yeah, I'm done with Brooklyn.
Course. I think all of those names have
place names or state names.
Well, Brooklyn is a place, is a city. Or a borough. But I just definitely don't like Alaska. I'm not a fan of the name Alaska. I mean, unless you have this amazing tie with Alaska and come up with why that name was so important to you. You know, just some random.
Gnome would be better, but then there's that word GNOME, so that wouldn't work.
I know someone whose name was NAME, but pronounced like Nam. It was like Nam.
Like Vietnam?
No. Well, I guess it was like Vietnam. I don't know. In my vernacular, it was Nam as opposed to Nam.
Right.
But I have a funny story. I don't know if I should tell it.
If you don't know if you should say it out loud, don't say it.
No.
I do have a story too. I read an article about this guy whose last name was Null, Null. And in database terms, that means nothing is in the field.
Yeah.
So he said he would have such a difficult time like registering for things like driver's license and everything, and he said that so many times he thought of changing his name. And that reminded me of another story. about somebody who changed their name to Fnulanu, FNULNU, which in like security terms for the US government means first name unknown, last name unknown. So
they're not
that was a way to get around like government tracking, was to change his name to Fnulanu, which I thought was pretty silly. But
my story is gentle. I was just
Okay.
going to say, and it has not much to do with naming at all, but it was funny. So everyone knows that or many people know that we're from Chicago. And I was working with a 4-year-old student last night. That's why we have books behind me. Anyway, and this little boy from China, it was 4. He's 4, and I'm having him repeat after me all the words, and he's doing a really good job. And then all of a sudden I hear ball. And he said ball like he was from Chicago. So this little Chinese boy who's 4 years old is learning a Chicago accent for all
Sounds
of him.
more like New York bull. It'd be bow. Bow.
Oh. Well, maybe I'm giving him a New York accent. But I would like to point out that Audrey and Canice both like Alaska, but Audrey suggests Cressida. That's a Greek name that I think is beautiful.
That is really pretty. And the D, like Bridget or, we talked about Astrid, is not so harsh when you put a vowel after it. So Cressida is a great alternative to that.
Loving it, Audrey.
It's easy to spell too, if you think about it.
Cressida.
Nobody's going to have any problem with that at the coffee shop.
No.
On the boys' side, we have Ferris, Liz, and Bueller. I'm not a fan of that. It also means made of iron if you spell it Ferrous.
Ferrous sulfate.
Draco, isn't that a Harry Potter name?
It is a Harry Potter name, and it is kind of
in the 300s.
Yeah, but Draco was not a very good guy.
Casper.
Or was it?
Which still reminds me of the ghosts, so I don't know about the name Casper.
No to Casper.
Yeah, that's not good. So anyway, to see the full list, go to babynames.com. We're not going to go over everything. We just wanted to do some highlights and let you know that it was out there. I'm also going to do a blog post where I list the top 500, so you can see the names that are kind of down on the list that are debuting and might become popular in the next 3 to 5 years. So head on over to babynames.com for that. And stay tuned for our next episode, which is going to be a fun one. We'll get to say our opinions on these names of the year.
No holds barred.
No holds barred. Definitely for Mal, that is. And also, we want to hear your opinion too. So call us, write us, chat with us, come over to the Baby Names Podcast Facebook group. We always hang out there, and we're willing to gab with you about names, because that's our favorite subject.
Yeah. So Lizzie, Sarah, Kristen, Tori, Audrey, Kimberly, Canice, Audrey.
Thank you for tuning in and conversing with us. And thanks to everyone who's watching after the fact. We get a lot of views after we post this. So keep tuning in, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, guys.